Hi everyone, Matt here. As we go into Module 2, we are looking at some of the different ways we can report crime. We have the UCR and the NCVS. The UCR has its pros and cons just like the NCVS does. And as we go into it, there's a couple parts that you should know. Part 1 would consist of crimes like murders, arson, felony, things of that nature. And part 2 would be like traffic violations and, really smaller crimes, things that don't consist of a murder and things of that nature. So now that we know that, we also know that the way that the UCR is created is from reports of actual crimes. So, for example, if a woman was raped and it was reported, that report is going to be a statistic, and the police department is what sends this info over to the FBI, and then we come up with these sheets of data, which in essence is pretty good because we keep track of a lot of crimes, and we might know what's hot, what's not, what's going on, and things of that nature. But then again, the pro to this system is that a lot of these crimes are going to go, they're not going to go into the UCR. So, for example, that same woman, let's say she was raped, but she never reported it. It's not going to be part of the UCR. And the problem with that is we're never going to know. So we could have had, just to shoot a number, we could have had 5 women that were raped yesterday. Okay. But only 2 were reported, and those 2 are going into the UCR, and the other 3 aren't. And that's not to say that the other ones didn't happen. It's just that we have instances like, or a female, or I'm just using this as an example, but let's say she might have been doing something illegal. She might not want to report it, or maybe she's scared. And we have a lot of those cases that happen. So the UCR is both good and bad. As we look over at the NCVS, it's a little iffy in my opinion, but it is good that maybe someone might not get that info out at first. But basically with the NCVS is that it's people who might not report the crime, or might be like too embarrassed or scared or things of that, but then they can still report it. Okay, but the problem with that is that it can actually be reported incorrectly. So for example, let's say you have the NCVS report, and the report says the victim was robbed. Okay, but the definition of being robbed is also physically stealing from somebody. So then in essence, the victim wasn't robbed, and really she was burglarized. She broke into the suspect broke into a home and stole jewelry, but nothing happened to the victim. So that would identify it as a burglary versus the victim being robbed. And then what this creates is that it creates incorrect data. So then they're both good systems, but they both have their flaws. To me, in my opinion, I like the UCR. Okay, I do like both, but I feel like if we're gonna create statistics and keep data and record it, I think we need to go with the most concrete evidence of that crime happening that we have. If we report to a house and it was vandalized, it goes into UCR. We have data and statistics and all of that. And in the NCVS, we might not get a report of a house that was, for example, egged, or somebody drew graffiti on it or something. And then it creates these situations that might not give us the best data. So yeah, there you have it. I personally like the UCR, and I think it can get better, obviously, but I'm in favor for it, and I think we should keep using it, and that's the one I think I'd go with. Thanks.